I'm going to talk for 30 minutes now about all sorts of stuff. I don't know what I'm going to talk about, but I'm going to talk for 30 minutes. This is basically how I started the last time. I kept saying 30 minutes, I kept saying, "Oh, I'm going to talk for 30 minutes." And I said the words 30 minutes like a lot. So, yeah. I'm just going to say whatever I'm thinking about, basically. Right now, I'm thinking about the issue with breathing right now, because if I'm talking and then I feel like breathing, then I don't want to like have a bunch of breathing sounds, and I don't want to have a bunch of breathing pauses. So maybe a big thing is I have trouble breathing while talking, which I don't know, that's interesting, I guess. And now I'm thinking about what I'm going to talk about. I guess I'll talk about today, what's going on. And what's going on today is the Barbie and Oppenheimer movies. I'm going to watch those. So that's what I'm doing. Yeah, I mean, those are two movies that are pretty popular. A lot of movies have been doing bad in the box office recently. Like the Indiana Jones movie apparently did really bad, which is interesting because the first day it was out or whatever, I heard, oh, it did really well. Maybe I was misinformed, but apparently it's lost like hundreds of millions of dollars. Like it broke even on the box office technically for like its budget, which was like 300 million. But I think it was like it needed to make a lot more than that with like other expenses or something. I don't know. But I mean, I liked that movie. So, I mean, I liked it enough. I wouldn't rewatch it. It was kind of bland. The Mission Impossible movie is coming out soon. That's probably going to be good, actually. Because Tom Cruise takes his stuff really seriously. So, but as far as Barbie and Oppenheimer go, I have kind of like I have a vague idea of how Barbie is gonna be. It's probably gonna be fine, Marvel esque. That's what I bet it will be. Like a fine movie that's like it's it does what it does. Maybe it has some fun. Oh, like moments where it's like, oh wow, that's like kind of smart. Wow, that was clever. Oh, wow, they put clever stuff in the Barbie movie. That's crazy. Stuff like that. That wouldn't surprise me. And as far as and I so it's gonna be fine. I bet it will be like a 7 or 8, 7.5 out of 10. I bet. So like not the kind of thing I'd love to rewatch. But as far as Oppenheimer goes, I have high expectations for Oppenheimer. I bet it's gonna be really good. I bet it's gonna be. I bet it's gonna get nominated for Oscars, and I'm basing this just off the trailer. So, but we'll see what I end up thinking about that. I guess. Um. Yeah. So I mean, as far as movies go, that's basically what's going on. And movies are a big part of everyone's life. It's like you're thinking about, at least in America, first world problem type stuff, not like dealing with survival stuff, more like dealing with, oh, what movie are you gonna watch? Um, but I mean, that is kind of like uh, a part of life. at least for me, it's like, what's the next movie that's coming out? And then, oh, how long until it comes out? What movies are coming out after that, etc. You get the idea. And it's like, there's not going to be a bunch of great movies every year. There's like, there's going to be some good movies, but they're not all. There's going to be like, I have no idea how many movies I go to actually in a year. I really don't know. But it doesn't seem like it would be that many. I didn't watch Elemental just because it didn't look good, and everyone said it was going to be bad, and then reviews came out and it was bad. So it's like, why waste the money? Because tickets are expensive. If you're gonna go to a movie, you'd kind of like it if it were worth the price and the time, because it takes out your time too. So it's got to be worth the price, and it's got to be worth the time. As far as movies go, that's kind of the rules. Last time I went to a movie, I got a free slushie because the guy accidentally messed up. Like me and my friend and I were paying for food, and then he accidentally gave us a free slushie, and it was like, we didn't think we were gonna have enough. We only had $40 cash. We were getting nachos, popcorn, etc. And he only put down one large slushie on the cash on the register or whatever. And it was like, wow. So we ended up both being able to get a large slushie, which was great. And our candy and popcorn and all that stuff. So and another thing about movies, they have a 20 minutes of ads. So people will be like, oh no, I don't want to be late for the movie. Got to be there on time. But you don't have to be there on time, because it starts 20 minutes after it says it starts. And the ads are good. I wouldn't want to miss the ads really. But you don't need to see them all. And it's not like, if you're doing something or whatever, you don't need to, you have that 20-minute window. So I would say try to get to the theater. So obviously if you want to get popcorn and stuff, maybe you want to get to the theater at the start time, but you don't need to get there like 10 minutes before the start time of the movie. Maybe it was just me who thought it was like that. Maybe normal people get there later, but the idea of getting there on time, it's not a good idea. It's a waste of time. And yeah, I mean, I guess, is there anything more to say about movies and going? Well, some movies are really empty. Some movies are really crowded. And then there's drive-in movies. And I've never been to a drive-in movie, but that would be fun, So why would it be fun? It would be fun because it's different. It'd be fun because it's outside. It'd be fun for a number of reasons. Plus, they might have like, I don't know how the food works there. The whole experience would be fun, but again, I've never done it. So, I guess another thing about movies, I guess I'll say, is the book to movie thing. That's always interesting. It's like Hollywood doesn't have enough ideas. Also, books already have an audience. So I guess that's another part of why books to get turned into movies. But it's always fun. It's fun if you're really into a book and then they turn it into a movie. You gotta watch it. Like, because you've invested that time. When you read a book, you invest a lot of time into it, and so you're connected to it. plus another thing with books and movies and shows is once you finish something, you immediately, unless it was horrible, you immediately have to start telling everybody about it. You're like, you got to watch this show. You got to watch this movie. You got to read this book. You got to listen to this song. You got to listen to this album, etc. You get the idea. I mean, that's a big part of consuming entertainment. And another thing about the whole entertainment deal is there's so much FOMO. They get you with the FOMO, fear of missing out. That'll screw with you. Because you don't want to regret. You don't want to be sitting at night with regret. Regret is a killer. Regret sucks. But I mean, how can you live so people say like no regrets or whatever, or try to live with no regrets. So I guess that means there's two parts to that if you really want to have no regrets. Step 1, make wise decisions and do the things, learn from your regrets basically, and do the things that you might regret not doing. And then the second part is, once the past is past, you let it pass. You say, you just forget about it. You give yourself dementia on it. You go, that's done. And you do those two things and your life is going to be a lot better. I mean, I guess that's the idea. Better is subjective, but that's the idea, is that it would be better. And that's a whole thing. We could get into that, better and worse. You can really get into that. You think about it, you go, what is better? You go, what is worse? You go, well, it's better to feel good. It's worse to feel bad. I'd rather feel good than bad. But what makes something feel good? Well, what does make something feel good? Let's think about that. It's like, I don't know. Last night I was thinking about it. It's kind of like it has to do with when it has meaning, when it means something. If something feels good, if it's a feeling that indicates something positive in terms of your goals. That's how I think of good and better and all those ideas. And so that usually has to do with like subconscious goals, like survival. Comfort means safety. Safety means not dying. Not dying means survival. So it's like that. And it's interesting, actually, because if you live in America and you have a decent amount of money, if you're not like homeless, then your life is pretty stable. And you don't really need to be thinking in a fearful. You should basically what I'm saying is, if you live in America, you have the right. A lot of people have the right to feel comfortable, but they don't give themselves the feeling of comfort because they get caught up in weird other things. And I think you go, what's choice, what's not, but it's almost a choice because they find discomfort in unnecessary things like sports or shows or FOMO, like I was talking about FOMO. So you find social interactions, what people think of you, all these things. So you find those things that you don't need to feel uncomfortable about because they really don't change much on the bottom line of survival. But it's almost like your body is programmed, your mind and body pre-programmed to have certain things and react to certain things. And that's really how it is. It's like you get conditioned. You go, oh, this is good, this is bad. You get conditioned, you get impulses, that guide you on what to do and what not to do. But what can happen is if you look into it, you can kind of transcend your impulses. And I guess that's kind of like what the Buddha did. If we want to get real, spiritual with it, is like the Buddha, and I don't even understand. I haven't looked much into the Buddha or Buddhist teachings. I haven't even read the book. I think there's a book, like a main book. I should probably read it because it's probably brief. Because the Bhagavad Gita and the Tao Te Ching were brief. I bet the Buddha book is brief, but I have not read it. But I do know the story of the Buddha, and he was like, well, I mean, the story of the Buddha is there was like a rich kid, and he was like discontent once he found out that there were people that weren't rich or something, and he was already, I don't know. So then he like decided to be homeless for a while, and then he was like, this kind of sucks, and then he was like, and then he went out to meditate, and he like meditated for a long time without food or etc. He sat under a tree, and then he just became enlightened, and then it was like, well, being homeless sucks. Basically, being rich sucks, basically, but it's all fine, basically. I think that's kind of what I don't know, man. The point is he meditated and became enlightened. I mean, that's the point. And that drives a lot of thinking now. Is people will meditate and they'll think, oh, I'm going to get enlightened or something. So it really was good for pushing the idea of meditation. And meditation is very healthy and good, in my opinion. I don't know. Definitely, if you have goals, it's good. Like, it's basically good for anybody. Because I don't know if you could live without goals. If something is being attempted, you're gonna do better. You're gonna be more effective if you meditate, is what I'm saying. You see things clearer. You're not, so like I was saying about impulses, if you meditate, you're not as corrupted and deceived by impulses. If you get an impulse and you believe it, then you're literally you're a slave to it. And everybody is a slave to impulses, basically. It's like, oh, this is going to be whatever. If I do this, then, so a thing happens. So, and then you feel a certain way. And then your feeling is an impulse. It gives you direction on what to do. And you go, what's the quickest way to change this? It's your body's way of saying there's a problem or something is good. Or what I mean is, it's your body's way of saying something needs to change or something needs to stay the way it is and needs to be kept in a certain way or whatever. So if your body through feeling says something needs to change, then it's going to guide you on there. And the more clear it is, the more direct your behavior is going to be or whatever. So, one way of thinking of it is you may think to yourself, oh, I'm going to talk to you could think, I'm going to talk to that girl because she's pretty or something. But then you might say that at home. But then if you're actually in the situation, your impulses might be way stronger in the direction of saying, don't do that, stay safe. And that would be an example of impulses just kind of hijacking. Hijacking your behavior and not being under control, kind of. But you could get into control. What is control? Should I dive down that one? I don't I don't think I will. Not today. I think I've covered enough of the spiritual slash philosophical stuff. Well, I mean everything kind of gets to philosophical stuff, but I think I'm going to talk about like daily routines and goal setting now. So with me, it's like sometimes I get really excited. I get a lot of dopamine from making little daily plans, daily routines. I love making daily routines, but the problem is with daily routines is I'll make them so efficient or so like absolutely full. So the day is full. So there's not a minute of wiggle room. And then what happens is when you do that is the second anybody has anything they ask of you or the second anybody wants to hang out or anything, your entire day plan goes out the window. So you and this applies to anything is you need to make things flexible because if they're not flexible or they need to have the right amount of flexibility. If it's too flexible, it's mush and it won't do anything. If it's too rigid, if it's hard, then it'll just like shatter, crack. So you need something that's flexible but not like goop. And this applies to daily routines. So I was trying to do all this stuff, and it was kind of stressing me out because it was like this is not getting done. I'm not doing it. Like I'm failing every day at my daily routine. It's like maybe this daily routine's not really possible. So then I just changed it to simple. I made it simple. And I'm in a privileged situation right now because it's summer break. So I just made it work out and meditate. And if I do those two things, then that day is a success. And I think then the next thing is you just have a list of stuff that you would like to do if you have free time. So it's like that way your free time is directed. You don't your free time isn't you're not just gonna sit around and watch videos. I mean, you could, because that time is flexible and you'll do what is good. But generally, it's for me at least. I want to make my day just situated in a way where production and progress are like consistent. If you have consistent progress, then that's great. And I saw this YouTube channel the other day that was talking about the idea of I think I saw two the other day that said this, where it's like you have goals, you want to have goals, and then you want to turn those goals into clear daily rituals that just and then adding connecting to another idea. I heard an idea from Kapil Gupta, which is like do what would make success inevitable. Think what would make this inevitable, and all those ideas connect. And it's like, yeah, you want to do things that make it easier for what you want to happen to happen. You want to set things up so that it's easier for what you want to happen to happen. And so I think those are good ideas. And I'm happy to have heard them. And that makes me think of Atomic Habits. And Atomic Habits it's a very popular book by, I believe, James Clear. And so it was good. It was good, but and with anything like this, I think it's good to read the actual book because just forces you to think about it. And maybe it convinces your subconscious to use it. But the title basically gives you all you need to know, which is think about your habits. And this connects to what I just said, which is, doing the daily rituals that connect with your goals. So a lot of self-help books will give you kind of what you like. If you think it's gonna change your life, listen, it probably won't. There are some books like that, but it's rare because a lot of these books use the same ideas. So, I mean, a lot of stuff is just common sense. You just need to have some common sense. You just sit down and think about it. You think, if I want this, how do I get it? And let's be reasonable. And okay, so now I'm connecting it to everything. I'm connecting everything to everything right now, but I'll just connect it to another book, Principles by Ray Dalio. The book written by multi-billionaire hedge fund founder Ray Dalio. And he had a thing in his book where it's like, okay, for goals, okay, it's like, know what you want, know what's true, and then how are you going to get what you want, knowing what's true. And that's a powerful guideline, because you have to go, what's the truth? You got to get realistic. You got to think, you got to find a way, connecting back, making things inevitable. You got to get it so it's like pretty hard to fail. And then once you do that, it's pretty cool. You can turn your life into kind of a process of production. You can think of that in a bleak way, but you can also think of it in a good way. And your body will think of it in a good way, and your mind will, because it will just like feel good, and you'll probably get dopamine. So, and that's kind of the name of the game, I guess, is like just getting the good chemicals in your brain. But I don't know. Recently, I've been toying with the idea of detachment. So you just detach. So what I have in my notes is completely detach and breathe. And that's basically what I do during my meditation. And you can use that whenever there's any kind of pain or confusion or stress. You just detach. And then it's not your problem anymore, but you're still there, and then you're able to work with things. So it's like, you can see how that would be helpful in different situations. It makes it so that your problems aren't your problems. So, yeah. Now I guess I'm gonna talk about like social behavior now, just for like 2 minutes or 3 minutes. Um, and I ended on the last like 30-minute talking thing. I ended by talking about Jeff Goldblum and his like charisma skills, and I think it's like the main thing to do as far as like social skills is, and oh my gosh, I'm connecting so many things to different books that I've read, so I hope that's not irritating. But in the Jed McKenna books, so Jed McKenna, the Jed McKenna books, he says, and he got this from another author, I think, but he says, like, basically, if you want to manifest something or get just like goal achievement, is you got to use focus and intent. And if you use those, then you'll get it, essentially. And I think that's, so with with charisma skills, I think that definitely applies. It's like, if you just thought to yourself, like, were tried and focused and had intent to just really be charming and make somebody feel good, then you would achieve that. Or another way of thinking of it is trying to vibe with somebody, match their feeling and use it to make you both feel better. You want to like enter them, their like aura, and then just like bond. And then that bonding, I guess, blossoms into feeling good. I don't know. These are these ideas. These are the ideas I've been thinking of recently as far as that goes. And it's just advantageous for everybody because it's not like manipulation. It's more like creating useful communication with people. And that's really what it's about. It's like being so with like those social things. It's like it's just beneficial for everybody. And also you got to I don't know what I was going to say also. I got sidetracked by my mind. So I apologize for that. But what I'm going to say now is it's interesting how thoughts can battle in my head because I was talking about the social skills and stuff, and then while I was talking about that, I like had a new idea for something to say, and then it's like it's almost the exact same situation as when somebody else is talking and you want to talk. You have like an idea and then you have another idea that you're like, wait a second, this idea is pretty good. This idea needs to get shared. So then it's like you gotta wrap up an idea and then get to the next one. But I've been going on for over 30 minutes now. I mean, I had fun. It's just talking for like 30 minutes. It makes it so that it's like I mean, I basically have no sense of time. Like this flew by really fast. So there you go. Have a good day.